Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Radhe
Hare
Radhe,
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vinodihari Mandir, Shri Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Patipad Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinodihari Ju ki jai, Radha Raman Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Latu Gopal ki jai. Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. So we will begin, as we do every day, with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru, Bandeham, Vandeham.
Krishna
कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विज्ञान दैने ब्रह्मवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगं विनुद्भावो सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् भैरव्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भारसम्बोधे पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बराय ते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्दिष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महामनन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नन्दे गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दं मदे गति मत्सर्वस्वप्नम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमाद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीरगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठानिधि सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भि वंशिवत्ततस्थितः कर्षन्वेणुस्वरगोपि गोपीनाथश्रीस्तुनः वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्य प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णा भक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृन्द चैत्रोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादाभक्तिनिर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मसफलं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं हरे नाम हरेर्नामैव केवलं खलो नस्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya.
Page 32 starts with Gurudev Kripa K-R-P-A Bindu B-I-N-D-U.
Is connection okay? We're using a different connection today.
Our regular connection keeps turning off, so we're trying a new one. Dandavat pranam.
Subi.
Subi. Dandavat pranam. As you could all hear, that was really, really high, and I could barely hit it. I could barely hit the notes. Actually, I probably didn't even properly hit. But it reminded me of something so sweet that even though Kishori Mohan Prabhu kept checking with me to try to bring it down a little bit so that I could sing it comfortably, it was reminding me of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I think we were in Houston, or someplace like that once. And Srila Gurudev asked me to sing one kirtan. And he was speaking about the rarity of this human form of life. And so I thought, oh, if he calls on me, then I'm going to sing Bhaja Hure Mana, Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanaravind. So I'm going to sing that kirtan. And Gurudev called on me. And because I don't know music that well, I don't know where to start. I expect Kishori Mohan Prabhu just to know exactly what is perfect for me. And so he actually started a little bit too high. And that bhajan goes really, really high and it goes really low. So I was sitting in front of Srila Gurudev and I was singing this, and when it came to the high note, I kept missing it and I wasn't hitting the high note. And usually if I was doing okay, Gurudev would close his eyes, or sometimes he would just kind of pick his fingers and listen and chant along. But this time he was just watching me. And when I would try to hit the high note, and I wouldn't hit it, he'd go like that. And I'd be like, oh, this is bad. So finally, I kept trying, and finally toward the end, I hit the note. I hit that high note, and Gurudev went like this, like, yes. And then it reminded me of another time when we were in Badger, California, and he had me sing in the middle of class. And again, I sang something really high, and I thought if I sing really high but fast, then I can hit the notes okay. And Gurudev slowed me down and had me sing really slow, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. And the high note was so high. And I know I spoke this before, but it was reminding me of how everything that we are doing is to please Sri Guru. Everything that we are endeavoring to do on the path of bhakti, first and foremost is for the pleasure of Guru Krishna. That Krishna that appears in our life is Sri Guru. And even if it sounds like mistakes to others, even if it's not so palatable, our Gurudev would say to try is bhakti. It means that even though we may have so many frailties and we may fail so many times, to keep trying and to persevere, this is actually called nishta. I'm going to continue and I'm not going to give up until I can please my Gurudev, until I can reach my goal. And so as we were singing that, I was thinking the easy thing to do would be to sound really nice and maybe make it more musically sweet to listen to. But then I remembered it's not about that. It's about trying to please Srila Gurudev and call him into this assembly where all over the world, all of us coming together and sitting down and doing kirtan. And when we're doing that, we're doing it for a reason. We're calling our transcendental Gurudev, please, you should manifest in my heart. Let that kind of mood that is in your heart also enter my heart. Even one drop of that mercy. And calling out like a baby, crying for its mother. You know, that crying might be palatable for the mother to hear. Oh, my baby needs me. My baby is calling for me, it's hungry. Anyone else might hear it and it gets on your nerves and you think, oh my God, why is that baby just crying? But a mother hears and their heart melts, my baby needs me. So when we're doing kirtan, even if you're in your home alone, you can turn up your speaker. Sing loudly. This is the time and the opportunity that we have to actually scream and call out for the mercy of our gurus, of our Guru Varga, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and then Mahamantra, calling out Sri Radha and Krishna. Oh, please, you should manifest in my heart. That's the point of why we do this every day, why we share this sadhana with all of you. This is also part of your sadhana now. Together we're coming and we're doing kirtan for a purpose. It may be that some are cooking, some are cleaning, but actually, this is serious business. Calling out to our Guru Varg, calling their names, calling out in their words. It is a very serious undertaking. And to try to be involved in it, to try to give some time and effort into calling out, to try is bhakti. And that is pleasing to Guru Krishna. And we know if Guru Krishna is pleased, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, will automatically become pleased and all auspiciousness will come. So this is so important. Never mind, Gurudev said, if your voice isn't so charming, your heart should be charming. So if we're doing everything to try to please Gurudev, or to try to please Vaishnavas, or calling Guru in the heart to finally come and manifest again in our lives, then that is what we are doing here and now, calling out for that purpose. It is serious. And this is how we do it, by calling out. Never mind about the voice, the heart should be charming.
Srila Gurudev told Sudevi once, he said, Srimati Radhika sings in the fifth, Krishna sings in the 5th note. Srimati Radhika sings in the 7th note. You should sing in the 8th note. So he was joking, but still he wanted her to sing very high. He always wanted her to sing high. And this is something which is told in our bhajans. Gandibe Uchaishware. Sri Narottam Das Thakur is saying, at the top of my voice, Uchaishware, calling out with that mood, and the loud calling out of the holy names of the Lord, this constitutes bhakti. So now we will call for the mercy of Vaishnavas. Little emergency, it's pouring rain at the moment. Sudevi has to run and close her windows because it rains inside.
Inside her room.
Yes. Somehow the water goes inside. Wow. It has been very hot and quite muggy for a while.
So which one over here? Which one?
Sakala Vaishnava Gosai.
Shakala Vaishnava Gosai. Page 46. You should let them know we might start getting a bad connection soon.
If the storm kicks up really heavy, it could affect the signal. So please forgive us. We have no control over that. We'll try our best.
Just keep refreshing.
Sakala Vaishnava Gosai Noya Koro Sakala Vaishnava Gosai Dante Trino Bholi ko he Ekino Amare Dante Trino Sri Guru Chorono Ya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Guru Chorono Ya Pada Banglo Pavaya Ome Guru Dhanya Pada Banglo Pavaya Ome Guru Dhanya Is it flooding?
Yeah.
Can you film the...
She put towels everywhere.
But it has nowhere to go. Okay. Nitai Gunamani Amar, Nitai Gunamani.
Page 61 starts with Nitai, Nitai, Guna Mani.
61.
And if you keep scrolling down, you'll find that Jiva Pavana Prabhu always puts the lyrics to the bhajans. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, Dandava Pranam. And if you look carefully, generally he'll add some nectar here and there.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Gauranga bolite habe Pulaka Sharir. Page 86.
86.
Gauranga Bolitaebe. Gauranga bolite habe page 86. Or whatever Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted. Sri Radha Krishna Pada Kamale Mana.
Page 120 starts with Shri Radha Krishna, S-R-I, Radha Krishna, Pada, P-A-D-A.
120?
120.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitarang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Ninatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayan, Goswami Maharaj. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam, at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupa Nuga Guru Bharata. And my Dandavat Pranam to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of those who are with us today. My Dandavat Pranam. Today an interesting question came to me, and I won't spend too much time speaking about it, although I can. In fact, I asked my Gurudeva about it once, and he said, I'll do some research and get back to you on it. And he never did. And I figured it's probably because he doesn't like to actually speak on this subject. He prefers to speak on the subject of Krishna's pastimes, which is really the only Maha Oshadi, the only real remedy for all of our problems, material problems and difficulties. Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So he really didn't want to be bothered with discussing all of these other things, which he already had many times previously. But the question was, what is the difference between Mayavad and Brahmavad? Because it's easy to make a mistake and lump one into the other category. Mayavad and Brahmavad. So, Maya means illusion, and Vad means conception. What is a Mayavadi essentially, and why do we have to be so careful for Mayavad? Maya means illusion, as I told you, and the conception of the Mayavadis, I don't even know if they consider themselves to be Mayavadis. They don't say, I'm a Mayavadi, not that I know of. But our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have put that label there for sure. The conception is that there is only one supreme divine energy. And that supreme divine energy is known as Brahm. What we might consider the white light or Brahma Jyoti. One supreme divine energy. Just that. And then everything else is considered illusion. So the idea of the individual self, the soul, the idea of an avatar of God, or any form of God, including Krishna, Ram, Narasingha, Narayan, any of the forms of God, and the idea of a relationship between them, that means love and affection, seva, service. This Mayavadis consider all to be illusion. What we see in this material world, whatever we might conceive of as the spiritual world, any relationship, Radha, and Radha's love for Krishna and Krishna's love for Radha, they say all of this is illusion. Therefore, their conception is considered to be Aparadha, Apagata Radha, what is against or unfavorable to love and affection, or Srimati Radhika herself. Why is it so dangerous? Because Krishna doesn't like it. In fact, it really pains his heart, this conception. He says that when they are singing my names, when they are glorifying my forms, qualities, or pastimes, because underneath they have this conception, I take it personally like a thunderbolt to my own heart. Because they're against his most dearly beloved Srimati Radhika, all devotees and all devotion means relationship, love and affection itself. They deny that and call it illusion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states very, very strongly, Mayavada Bhasha Shunaile Hoy Sarvanash, that even hearing these conceptions, entertaining these conceptions, arguing about it, reading scriptures with these conceptions, maintaining friendships with those persons who have these conceptions, and discussing with them about spiritual subject matters, Hoy Sarvanash, all of your inclination in bhakti will be destroyed. Now, I cannot say that it will be destroyed forever, because the inherent nature of the soul is to love and serve Krishna. But that tendency can be stunted for millions and billions of lifetimes. And from the perspective of someone who feels that one moment in separation from the Supreme Lord is like millions of yugas, yugaitam nimeshena, chakshusha pravrishaitam, shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename, that in separation from you, O Govinda, one moment feels like millions of yugas, one moment of separation. This idea of millions and billions of lifetimes of separation, meaning not having even the inclination to serve Krishna, this idea is like hell's hell for them, for the Vaishnavas. So they don't like it. It's considered to be very, very unfavorable. And I remember when Srila Gurudev posted a letter to all of his disciples, begging all of us, my dear disciples, whatever you do, I beg you, please don't associate it. Don't take that association. It is so unfavorable for your bhakti. Stay far away from it. Pranam forever. Stay far away from it. Don't entertain and don't discuss these subjects. Don't dive into these ideas. Because actually we have already entertained these ideas for millions of lifetimes. And it's very familiar for us. And easily we can be captured by that and again dragged fully into this illusion that the form of Krishna is illusion, that the devotee and the individual soul and Sri Radha and all of Krishna's eternal associates are illusion, and that the love and affection between them, seva, is illusion. Easily we can be brought into that. And then we will be, what feels like forever, not be able to express our love and affection for Krishna. So heavy, heavy warnings are given to us from all sides. From all sides of our Guru Varga, warning us to avoid this. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself gives heavy warnings. Avajananti mamudha, manushim tanumashritam, param bhavam ajananto, mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools, he says, mudha, fools, they deride me. Deride means criticize, make fun, mock. They deride me when I descend in my human-like form. They do not understand param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. My supreme nature, my transcendental form, that I am the controller of everything and that I have dominion over everything. They don't understand this. So he calls those persons who think that his form is made of matter or mundane or made of maya or illusion, fools. And in another shlok he says, Janma karma chame divyam. My birth, my activities, etc. are all divine, transcendental. And one who understands and accepts this and knows this in truth, they never have to take birth in this material world of birth and death ever again. So what is the difference between the Mayavadi and the Brahmavadi? Well, Srimad Bhagavatam says, those who know the truth, vadanti tat tattva vidas, in truth, tattvam yaj jnanam abhyayam, they understand according to three different perspectives. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdyate. What are these called, these three different perspectives? Brahm iti. Brahm means the energy of the Lord, sometimes known as the divine effulgence of the Lord, the manifestation of the Lord, nirvana, that aspect of the Lord which is unvariegated. And then there's Paramatma, which is the localized aspect, who is present within everyone's heart. Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Present within every atom of creation as the supreme witness, inside and outside of everything. And then Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the other side of Nirvan. Bhagavan iti. That is, who is full of all opulences. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashashriya jnanam vairagyam. All of these different opulences. The most wealthy, the most opulence, the most strength, the most beauty, the most fame, the most knowledge, the most renunciation. These 6 things which define Bhagavan. Full of all transcendental variety and Nirvan, without any variety. Nirgun, without any material quality. So this one aspect called Brahm, to have an understanding of the unvariegated oneness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but from this perspective, Brahm iti, this is not necessarily Mayavad. Mayavadis have this conception, but they deny the Paramatmiti and Bhagavaniti. They deny the other aspects. Whereas one who sees in truth, they can understand these 3 different perspectives, but they may have a preference for one. So Shukadev Goswami, he had a preference initially for Brahm. He was Brahmagyani. He had full knowledge of the unvariegated singularity of Godhead in the form of Brahm. But there's a speciality for someone who is not an aparadhi. Then it may be that due to association, proper association, they may be able to come out quickly. So Shukadev Goswami, when Vyasadeva was saying to him, oh my son, because it was a material perspective, my son, he couldn't hear it. He continued walking, and only the trees echoed in response to Vyasadeva. But then later on, when he came back into the vicinity of Vyasadeva, and he heard Vyasadeva telling the glories, the pastimes of Krishna, Dasham Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, there, hearing these sweet pastimes of Krishna in relationship with his beloved devotee, Shukadev Goswami's heart became attracted, hearing this. And then he came to the feet of Vyasadeva, accepted him as his guru, and heard the sweet pastimes of Krishna from him. This is what converted Shukadev Goswami from Jnani Bhakta to Vaisnava. Means Bhakta, servant of Krishna. This bhav manifested. And the 4 Kumaras also, they were originally Jnani Bhaktas. But what changed them? What converted them? Jnani Bhaktas, Brahmavadi. They were originally Brahmavadis, means they were absorbed in this unvariegated feature of the absolute truth, this white light, this divine energy. They were absorbed in that. But by the fragrance emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord, the tulsi leaves which were placed on his lotus feet of Srimad Narayan, when they smelled that fragrance, this changed everything. And then they became personalists. So you can say that those who are Brahmavadis, they may be impersonalists. But that's still different than Mayavadis, who are actually directly offenders of the Lord. So in this connection, also we have heard that Gop Kumar, in this book, Going Beyond Vaikuntha, Gop Kumar also was trapped for a very long time. You wouldn't know how long, because you don't feel variegatedness within the white light or the effulgence of the Lord. It could have been 1 minute or 10 million years. You lose track of time in there. But he was trapped. And only by the mercy of his mantra, which was given by his guru, by the power of that mantra, Gopal mantra, which was resonating within him. Because of that mantra, I've read that he was able to see a dim glimpse of the toe of Vishnu, which acted like a fishhook to pull him out of that Brahma Jyoti. Why do Vaishnavas or Bhaktas not want to accept the idea of merging into the effulgence of the Lord? Why? Because it is not an ultimate resting place, ultimately, for any jiva. Because it is devoid of service to the Lord. So one may aspire for that. That is the goal of the Jnani Bhaktas. Sorry, the Jnanis. Goal of the Jnanis, not Jnani Bhaktas, but Jnanis. Those by their knowledge who are always trying to increase their knowledge, they will aspire eventually to go and merge into the divine light, because they want to finally finish off all duality of this world. So it's still a material desire. I don't want to experience suffering. I have noticed that suffering is the other side of the coin of enjoyment. So I don't want to experience enjoyment or suffering. Let me become free from these dualities. Let me experience nothingness. Now, it's interesting because Chaitanya Charitamrita states that this desire to merge, this sayujya, or this mayavad and Buddhism, current world global Buddhism, especially what was preached. If you see the end goal, that is shunyavad. Shunyavad means to cease to exist. And the other one is to merge. In the other case, it also means to cease to exist. So one is actually just another form of the other. It's covered. What is the difference if you are one with light or one with nothing? There's no real essential difference. Because you won't feel your independent, your separate individual existence. You will not be able to express the nature of your soul, which is Jiveda Surabahoy Krishner Nityadas. To serve Krishna, you will not be able to express that. And so, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Narayan says that even if any of my devotees, if I even offer them all of these different kinds of liberation, especially this one, Sayujya Mukti, or the liberation of merging into my effulgence, or especially my form, that my devotee will never accept it. And in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, within the conversation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, there he is speaking about these two different ideas. Brahma Sayujya, merging into the effulgence of the Lord, and Ishvara Sayujya, merging into the form of the Lord. This Brahma Sayujya is considered, yes, no Vaishnava would want to merge into that because it is devoid of seva. It's just suspended animation, where you're not really experiencing anything. It's just kind of like, for who knows how long. And the idea of Ishvara Sayujya, to merge into the form of the Lord, which is the destination that the Lord gives to really bad demons. This is considered even more abominable. The word was used in the translation abominable. Why? Because they have acknowledged the form of the Lord, but still they are so hard-hearted that they still don't want to serve the Lord. Rather, they want to be the Lord, to merge into and become the Lord. So because of this hard-heartedness, our Gurudev told once in Fiji, we were at, oh yes, I remember where it was. So he told us, he was sitting there, and he said, those who want to merge into the form of the Lord, because they're so hard-hearted, the Lord arranges to place those jivas into the forms of very hard substances, like crystals and gemstones, deep within the core of the earth or any planet, where they remain in a state of suspended animation. He didn't use that exact word, but where they remain for the duration of the Brahmanda. That means for Brahma's entire lifetime. And then when everything merges back into the form of Mahavishnu, it attains an unmanifest state. And then again, when it all comes back out, they may attain the chance to re-enter samsara and have the opportunity to associate with any Vaishnava where bhakti can manifest. Some may have noticed that gems have power and crystals have power. Maybe there are powerful personalities who have attained to high states of existence, who have entered into those hard places. Radha Ramananda also, I think there's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which talks about Stavara Jangama. Those personalities who desire to merge into the form of the Lord, because of their hard-heartedness, they are placed in the forms of stones and trees. Yes, stones also have souls in them. Jaiva also says, very stunted state of consciousness, stones. Crystals and gemstones deep within the earth's core. So there is a difference between that person who wants to merge into the form of the Lord, even and who wants to merge into the effulgence. But the Supreme Lord says, my devotee will never accept this. And in Padyavali, compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami, he collected from so many different scriptures. There's one verse by Sri Hanumanji. He states that if it means that I will not be able to serve my Lord, I would never accept this idea of merging into him or his effulgence. Why would I want that if I cannot serve him? So Vaishnavas, devotees, bhaktas will never accept this thing. And if anyone does accept it, to merge into the Brahmjyoti, the effulgence of the Lord, and remain in that suspended animation for God knows how long, due to lack of activity. Yenye ravindaksha vimuktamaninas. Due to lack of activity, aviruhya krichena param padam padam. They will have to come back to the plane of activity because the soul's nature is to be active. To be in an inactive state is not the nature of any soul. So one will not feel satisfied there. It is lacking service and it's lacking activity. But the nature of all souls is Nitya Krishna Das, to be able to serve Krishna or any form of Bhagavan eternally. So it is not the eternal resting place of any soul. They will have to come back again to this material world and then engage in bhakti. But our acharyas, our Guru Varga have explained that because they've attained to high states of sattva gun, to be able to rise themselves up to the edge of this Brahmjyoti. And then they come back down. Quite often they manifest first in the forms of Siddha yogis. And then when they come back to the earth, they manifest in the forms of philanthropists, those who do really great works for the benefit of the world, but still material philanthropy. And then you see in Jaiva Dharma, this sannyasi Thakur. He saw something amazing. He saw someone chanting the holy names of the Lord, and his heart was attracted. How is this possible? I have attained the highest states of sannyas. He was so qualified. And seeing that, something changed in his heart. And then he ended up taking shelter at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava and becoming a Vaishnava. And then moving very rapidly from that point on the path of bhakti. What happens to those who enter into the form of the Lord? Our Guru Varga have stated some things which are quite frightening. I've heard it from Gurudev once, and I've heard it from Srila Govinda Maharaj also. They say because pure devotees pass through periodically through the Brahmajyoti, it may be that in whatever direction they glance, all jivas are liberated, whom they glance at. But they never pass into the body of the Lord. They don't go into the body of the Lord. So those who attain to that destination, whether or not someone actually does, I have never heard of any true case, except for some demons, but those demons were also like Jaya and Vijay, Aghasur, entered into the Their souls entered into the form of the Lord. Jai and Vijay were eternal associates of the Lord. So, if they enter in, then the sadhus, they don't go there. So there's no opportunity for them to come out. And so it is compared to a fried mustard seed. It pops when you put it on a pan. What does that mean? The shape is still there, but the opportunity to awaken Krishna Seva Vasanam, the tendency to serve Krishna, this comes in the association of sadhus. The opportunity to awaken that never comes. So it's compared to a popped mustard seed. Meaning, if you plant a mustard seed, generally what will happen? It will sprout, it will become a mustard plant, make mustard flowers and more mustard seeds. It will continue. But if it's popped, then that possibility will never be there. You can plant a popped mustard seed and nothing will happen. There will be no result. So our Vaishnava Acharyas have heavily warned against the desire for this thing by giving us these kinds of examples. In essence, that is like shunyavad, to cease to exist. There's no real such thing as shunyavad on the outside. You can't destroy the soul. Krishna says, Najayate mriyate vakadachin nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya ajo nityam shashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul never takes birth. It never dies. You can't destroy it. So this idea of wanting to cease to exist, this is illusion. And the idea of wanting to be one, this is also illusion. You can never actually be one. Krishna says, Mamaya Vangsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That all jivas are my eternal fragmented parts and parcels. So you can't become God. God is God, and we are always in the Vibhina Angsha position of being eternally dependent and subservient to Vibhu, the Supreme Absolute Truth. That is our nature, Nitya Krishna Das. Always subservient and dependent upon the Supreme Absolute. And that we cannot remove. But to enter into a state, into a place, into a position where that opportunity never presents itself. That is, from the Vaishnava perspective, the definition of absolute hell. Forever bereft of service to Krishna. This breaks their heart in the most terrible way, because they are made of love and compassion, more than millions of mothers. And to see anyone striving for that kind of destination, this idea, it strikes fear and terror into their hearts. This is your nature. How could you desire to do that? You've seen Krishna, you understand, you acknowledge Him, His beauty, He has a form, and still you don't want to serve Him, you want to be Him, you want to merge into Him. This strikes terror in their hearts. And so they're desperately trying. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. This is the pranam mantra of our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. What is he cutting? He's cutting the desire or the striving for nirvishesh. Means to merge into Brahmjyoti and Shunyavad. Nirvishesh also means to merge into the form of the Lord. And Shunyavad, to cease to exist. He's preaching all over the world. Gauravani Prachar. The message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is that? Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajeshatanaya Stadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Brajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamalam Premam Pumarto Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaro Naparaha. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Tatra adaro naparaha. Tatra ad, nothing other. Beyond it, napara. Beyond this, there is nothing other beyond this. What is this opinion of Mahaprabhu? the supreme topmost worshipful form of the Lord is Brajendra Nandan, Shyamasundar Krishna in Vrindavan, or in this case, Brajesha Tanaya, the most dearmost of Brajesh, Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radhika. Because of this, the supreme worshipful place is where Radha and Krishna's pastimes are taking place. That is Sri Vrindavan Dham. Ramyaka Chidupasana Brajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. The topmost method of worship, which is most pleasing to Krishna, is that in which one has completely dedicated themselves completely, forsaking everything else. That is the mood of the Brajavadhus, the young married gopis of Vrindavan, headed by Srimati Radhika. This is the topmost upasana by which Krishna is the most pleased. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. It is the spotless evidence which proves all of that. There's nothing to be discarded, nothing to be thrown out. Srimad Bhagavatam carries one to that point of understanding. Sometimes it is said that Bhagavatam is like a sandwich. You've got your layer of bread here and your layer of bread there, and in the middle you have the 10th canto. That's your jam, your jelly, the sweetness, the rasa lila pastimes. Without that, without the ras, then it can become dry. But Srimad Bhagavatam holds that treasure in its center. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. And what does Srimad Bhagavatam bring us to? What is its goal? What is it bringing us toward? Toward our ultimate goal. Tum Arto Mohan. What is that? Prema. Divine love and affection for Krishna. Our goal is not Krishna. The demons may attain Krishna, may be merged into Krishna. Those who have a mood of wanting to be God or wanting to not suffer, they may attain merging into the form of, or the effulgence of God. But the devotee never accepts this, never aspires for it, never wants it. What do they want? They only want to love and serve Him. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stated in Sri Shikshashtakam, Ayi nanda tunaja kinkaram patitamam vishme bhavamvado kripaya tapapada pankaja stitaduli sadrisham vichintaya. I'm trying to remember the other one. Janma janmani madish, no? Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatar bhaktirahaitaki tvayi. The first one I was telling is that please always keep me like an atom at your lotus feet. But birth after birth, he's not even praying for relief from suffering, for liberation even. Whatever situation I'm in, whatever happens, even if I have to take many births, but mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahaitaki tvayi. May I always have unalloyed, natural, spontaneous love and affection, bhakti, for you. This is the nature of the bhakta, the devotee. In any situation, they're not asking anything from the Lord, but only that I may love you, I may serve you, that I may give to you. How may I be utilized in your service? Please engage me in your service. As Srila Prabhupada said, this is the prayer of our Mahamantra. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. And this is the nature of the bhakta. And this is the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam. Really, it is the goal of all Shastra to bring us to that point. And that is the goal of Harinam, to bring us to that point, that realization. Because this question was asked to me today, I wanted to share it in a somewhat condensed way. So I hope I was able to bring it together. Let me just check here and make sure there's no... Thank you, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, for sharing those beautiful quotes. If you want to see more about this subject, Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted links and quotes which are very appropriate for this subject matter. Okay, so now, believe it or not, we will actually continue with going beyond Vaikuntha. Very rare treat. Before entering into this book, which is based on the compilation or the Samadhi Bhasha, the vision, divine vision of Sri Sanatan Goswami. He has composed a beautiful treatise, namely Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, has given a beautiful commentary on this book. That is his Bhav Anuvad, full of transcendental emotion and full of rasa. So before entering into this book, Srila Gurudev said we should not think it is a book, but we should understand that it is the heart of that divine transcendental personality. You are not a book. You are non-different from Sri Sanatan Goswami himself. And the commentary, you are non-different from Srila Gurudev himself. So praying in the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami to Sanatan Goswamipada, Vairaga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatner Apayana Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripam Budirya Paradukuduki Sanatanastvam Prabhum Ashrayami. Praying in the dust of the lotus feet of our Gurudev, the commentator, and Sri Sanatan Goswami, the writer of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, begging that even one particle of their moods which are present within these pages may manifest in our hearts. So last time we were speaking about the Meena incarnation, the fish incarnation. This is the first avatar mentioned in Dashavatar Stotram. Pralaya Payodhijale Dritavanasi Vedam Vihita Vidhitra Charitramakedam Keshavadritam Meena Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So this is saying that the Supreme Lord Krishna, Keshava, has appeared in the form of the fish incarnation. But we should understand that in every kalpa, there is a fish incarnation because there is a flood, a universal flood or a partial devastation at the end of every day of Brahma. During his night, there is a flood which completely inundates the world, in the universe for that matter. So that flood basically washes everything, and then there's a chance for a restart. It doesn't kill the souls, but definitely all bodies are finished. And then again, there's a restart. When Brahma wakes up the next morning, it all begins again. And then at the end of his life, which is 100 of his years, our Brahma, who is one of the smallest Brahmas, lives for 311 trillion plus years. And other Brahmas live for much longer in other universes. But ours, he has 4 heads and he lives for 311 trillion of our years. One of his seconds is equivalent to 100,000 of our years. And he lives for 100 of his years. 100. Every day of Brahma, that's called a kalpa. During his day, everything is manifest, everything is going on. During his night, there is a flood. So in this flood, something needs to be rescued. What is that? Sometimes it is every species, sometimes it is the Vedas. In different ways, in different kalpas, the Supreme Lord manifests in this Meena avatar, the fish incarnation. So, when we last read, the Meena incarnation saved Satyavrat Muni. Satyavrat Muni is the one who wrote Damodarashtakam. Actually, I don't even know if he wrote it, but he spoke it. And this Damodarashtakam, Srila Gurudev explained, is the millions of years subjective evolution of consciousness of Satyavrat Muni, as he's first going from Namam Ishvaram, approaching the Lord in a mood of Aishvarya Bhav. And in here, in this book, it states that this Meena avatar was his Ishtadev. So one devotee asked me a question. Let me just finish what I was going to say first. So, millions of years from this point, the beginning, from the beginning of this current creation, what took millions of years? To develop this mood, to awaken the mood, first of approaching Balagopal, then coming to the end of Damodarashtakam, Namo Radhikaye Tvadiya Priyaye Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tobhyam. Praying to Srimati Radhika for her mercy. So this is a gradual evolution. So the question was asked, but Gurudev here said that Matsya avatar is the Ishtadev of Satyavrat Muni. So how do we reconcile that Matsya avatar is his Ishtadev, and yet he has gone to Bal Lila, means the childhood pastimes of Krishna, and then to Radha Krishna, Radha Damodar. How do we reconcile this? And so I was meditating on this point, and we've also seen a similar situation in Sri Rangam. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sri Rangam, who did he stay with? He stayed with the family of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. That time Gopal Bhatta was just a very young boy. And he received the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But who was his father? Trimala Bhatta, there was Vyankat Bhatta, and Prabodhananda Saraswati, sannyasi, also one of the brothers. Different than Prakashananda Saraswati of Benares. Different. Gurudev was very, very strong on this point. Some people think they're the same person. Gurudev said, absolutely not. There is no proof in Shastra that Prakashananda and Prabodhananda are the same personalities. They are not. Prabodhananda Saraswati is the manifestation of Tunga Vidya Sakhi, one of the Ashta Sakhis of Srimati Radhika in Krishna Lila. And he has composed from his heart Shri Vrindavan Mahimamrita, Shri Radhara Sashuddhanidhi, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, I think. So many beautiful treatises. And his place of bhajan is just near the place where Krishna jumped off that tree to subdue the Kaliya Nag, the Kaliya serpent. So just behind there is the place of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur's bhajan. Also the place of Bilva Mangal Thakur's bhajan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in their home in Sri Rangam. And there he spoke, and I told the other day on Her Panchami, how Mahaprabhu was speaking about the difference between the mood of the gopis and Lakshmi Devi. Now mind you, they were their Ishtadev. At that time, their focus was Lakshmi Narayan. But hearing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, they accepted it, and then they switched from their one-pointed mood toward their current Ishtadev, Lakshmi Narayan, to Radha Krishna. The whole family. Why? Because it was their internal inherent nature. It was the nature of their Atma. Think about it. Prabodhananda Saraswati. Who is he? In Krishna Lila, Tunga Vidya Sakhi. But somehow, in this pastime, the current Ishtadev at that time was Lakshmi Narayan. But we know that Tunga Vidya Sakhi's Ishtadev is not Lakshmi Narayan. Tunga Vidya Sakhi's everything is serving Radha and Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke with them, gave them evidences from Shastra, then they switched. Which means that that wasn't their eternal Ishtadev, Lakshmi Narayan, but it was their current Ishtadev. But inside the Atma of every Jiva, inside the heart, the core of every Atma or every Jiva, there is one particular Ishtadev who is our intrinsic, eternal, inherent form of the Lord who we will worship eternally. Like Gopkumar. He went to so many different places. When he was in Vaikuntha, Narayan was his Ishtadev for the time being. In Ayodhya, Ram was his Ishtadev for the time being. When he was in Dwarka, Dwarkadish Krishna was his Ishtadev for the time being, externally. But internally, his heart was only crying out for Braj Krishna. Which kind of Braj Krishna? In Sakya Bhav. That Krishna who is playing with his cowherd boyfriend. So this is the nature of Gopkumar eternally. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to convince Murari Gupta and Anupam, the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatan. Rupa and Sanatan are Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari. But Anupam, their younger brother, did not have this same kind of intrinsic mood in relationship with Radha and Krishna. His eternal relationship was with Sri Ram in Ayodhya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave all of the same explanations to Murari Gupta and Anupam that he gave to those in South India. Vyankat Bhatta, Trimala Bhatta, Prabodhananda Saraswati, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He gave the same explanations. And although Murari Gupta and Anupam accepted everything theoretically, still their heart could not change. Because that was the intrinsic nature of their souls, that they were Ram Bhaktas. And they approached Mahaprabhu and told him, we accept everything that you have told us. Yes, it makes sense. Shastrically, it's correct in everything. But our hearts are just what they are, and they can never, ever change from this position. And Mahaprabhu was so happy to hear this. He also confirmed it to them. He told Murari Gupta, of course you cannot change. You are Hanuman. So your eternal nature is to serve Sri Ram in Ayodhya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed this to him. He confirmed it to him. And same with Anupam. Of course you cannot give up Ram, because you're an eternal devotee of Sri Ram. So no matter what he told them, their hearts could not change, because their eternal Ishtadev of their Atma was Sri Ram. Whereas the eternal Ishtadev of the Atma of these personalities in Sri Rangam, at that time, is Radha Krishna. So then they were able to switch. So in the same way, Satyavrat Muni is manifesting for one time that my Ishtadev is Matsya Avatar, Meena Avatar. That this is my Ishtadev, the fish incarnation. But we see that over time, his Ishtadev changed. Which means that that is not necessarily his eternal Ishtadev, although even the words may be used, but still, his heart changed. It went toward Namam Ishvaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashora Bhiyo Lukaladhavamanam Param Rishtam Atyantatos Brutya Gopya Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Rijantam Karamboja Yugmena Shatanka Netram Muhushvashakam Patri Rekam Kakantas Tita Graivam Damodaram Bhakti Badam. Again and again, Gopala Balam, may this Gopal be manifest in my heart. And thus he's going toward Vatsalyata. But then in the end, Namo Radhikaye, Namo Radhikaye Tvadiyapriyaye. Now I'm offering pranam to your dear most beloved Srimati Radhika. Most of the cowherd boys don't even know about this. Mother Yashoda doesn't understand about this. But now he is praying to Krishna's dear most beloved. Namo Radhikaye Tvadiyapriyaye. Then may she give me her mercy, because she is most dear to Krishna. Most dear to Krishna. So this is how he's approaching. So this shows that this is not his Ishtadev, eternal Ishtadev is Matsya Avatar, but he's actually so attracted to Krishna's Braja pastimes, and progressing through that. Gurudev said over millions of years. So Gurudev explained that there's not just one fish incarnation, but many. In Vaikuntha also there are different chambers. We have heard from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's speaking to Sanatan Goswami that there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and each one has a different form of the Lord at the helm. And there, his particular devotees are serving him. So unlimited. Many, many millions more than what you can conceive of in the material universes, all of them combined. Unlimited transcendental planets with transcendental associates of the Lord worshipping him in any particular way. So different chambers are suitable for worshipping those forms of the Lord, for those particular devotees. And here it says, and Satyavrat Muni's worshipful Lord is this particular Meena incarnation. So we've already spoken about that. Now Gurudev is bringing us to the next one. Keshavadrita Kurma Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare. There is also the Kurma incarnation. At the time of churning the ocean of milk, the demons and demigods came together and agreed that everything produced from the churning would be distributed. Vishnu, through the medium of Brahma, gave them some advice. Otherwise, nothing would have been produced. They placed the Mandara mountain in the middle of the ocean, but there was no foundation for it. Mandara mountain is what holds up the material universe, I believe. But there was no foundation for it, so the mountain immediately sank. They thought, this will be very difficult. How will we remove it from the ocean? how will we find a foundation upon which to churn? So just like Shiva had to take Ganga on his head because the earth would not be able to bear the burden of her weight, in the same way, what was going to bear the burden of the weight of Mandara mountain? So they needed something. They needed a foundation upon which to churn. So they worshipped Vishnu, and he came in the form of a tortoise, Kurma. For your good fortune, I will accept the form of a tortoise. Place the mountain on me, wind the snake Vasuki around it, and then churn. So using the snake Vasuki as a rope, they churned this Mandara mountain, which was on the back of Kurma avatar, churning this ocean of milk. They placed the mountain on Kurma, wrapped the king of snakes around it. In one direction was the mouth of Vasuki, and in the other direction was his tail. The demigod said to the demons, since we are senior to you, we will take the direction of the head. We are worthy of more respect than you. The demons replied, no, we will not give you this respect. We will take the direction of the head. So the demons and the demigods were arguing over which side they get, the head or the tail. The demigods wanted the heads of Vasuki. The demons wanted the heads of Vasuki, thinking the tail is inferior. The demons said, we will not take it. So the demons demanded the head side, not understanding the trickery of the demigods. But the demigods insisted, you are our little brothers, the sons of Didi. See, interestingly enough, the demons and the demigods were born from the same mother. Just, well, how do demons become manifest? Demons are manifested when one does not follow proper rules and regulations of Shastra. When one does things which are not within Dharma. So demons have manifested. Demigods came from the same mother, and the demons came from the same mother. They are actually brothers. All sons of Didi. Therefore, whatever is produced by the churning, we will take first, and you will take the remainder. The demigods said, because they're claiming seniority, superiority, being elder. We will take first, and you will take the remainder. Just in this context, how is Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha manifested? I don't know if you remember. Their mother was pressing their father for intimate relations at an inauspicious time, the time when Lord Shiva and all of his Bhut followers were crossing the sky. Without performing the proper samskars, Garbhodhan samskar, to attract auspicious personalities to enter. These days, everyone practically does not follow these proper principles. And as a result, we have what is known as Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means literally unwanted population. Unwanted means I have not made the endeavor to actually attract saintly souls into my life, that actually I was only enjoying for enjoyment's sake and for my own happiness, my own pleasure. So, the mother of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, what did she do? She pressed their father, please satisfy me now. And he gave up doing his duty, gave up doing his seva, gave up his mantras to satisfy her. But then he became very upset, because how can someone not, when they're being pressured like this, if they're not fully, completely absorbed in the Supreme Lord, then most people's minds would be dragged away for that pleasure and that illusion. So he fulfilled her desire, but then he became very upset afterward. What was the result? The greatest demons that the world has ever known, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, were born from her womb. He cursed her, that your children will be the kings of the Rakshasas, kings of the demons. And then she became really upset and afraid. And he said, but don't worry, they will be killed by Vishnu himself, and this is how they will be liberated. So he gave her a blessing afterward because she became very apologetic and was repenting. So his words could not go in vain. So he gave that blessing. So in this case, in this world, we see that so many persons with demonic tendencies. Now, when I say demon, I don't mean the ones with the pointy ears and the fangs and all like that. What is demonic according to Shastra? That which is adharmic, that which is atheistic, means Gnostic, against God, unfavorable to God, or even in the name of God, but doing so many sinful activities. Right? People can go to any temple or any church or anything and claim to be religious. But the next moment they go out and they're basically taking part in the murdering of animals, taking part in all sorts of illicit activities, doing all sorts of nonsense, and then they go back to their temple, their mosque, or their church, and they pretend to pray for forgiveness. And then the next moment they go back out and sin like anything again. This is not real repentance. Not real. So this nature of me being the center, everything for my enjoyment, putting on a good face so everyone can look at me and glorify me and worship me and give me donations and whatever else, but inside seething with all kinds of lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, all kinds of dark, sinful nature. This is the nature of those who come into this world without performing the proper samskars, without doing those proper rituals to attract good souls to come who will be sattvic, who will be dharmic, and who will increase the quality of life in this world. Means bringing everyone toward a godly nature. But nowadays we see that the world is full of so many who are trying to bring the world toward darkness. Darkness meaning against devotion. Everything for myself, for my enjoyment. Nothing to do with Krishna, nothing to do with God, nothing to do with love or service. Everything self-centered. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. If anything comes to disrupt that, I will destroy it. Money is God. And what can I buy with my money? I will buy the services of anyone. I will pay off any lawyer. I will pay off any judge. I will do whatever I want. And if anyone dares to cross me, I will brand them. I will vilify them. I will destroy them. This is the nature of so many. So Krishna talks about demonic nature. And it can look like the most beautiful human. It can even look like the most religious human. What is inside? This is something we can discover for ourselves. We can look inside and see if this nature is prominent with us. But if we're all meant to be devotees of the Lord, then why is this nature being so externally manifest? So I can't tell the story properly, but there was once a story that I heard about a child who was asking, because he was always getting in fights, and his grandfather told him that there are two wolves inside you. One is good and one is bad. And they're always fighting. And the child asked, which one wins? And the grandfather said, the one that you feed, the one that you nourish. So we have a choice which we will nourish. Will we nourish the demonic side? That side which is selfish, self-centered, and opposed to love and affection. Appa-radha. Or will we nourish the devotional side? That side which is favorable to Vaishnavas, favorable to Guru, favorable to Krishna. This is a choice that we can make at every single moment. And we will see that if we try to avail ourselves of the association of sadhus, then that side will be nourished, and that side will be awakened, and that side will win. So this is the process that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. Avoid bad association. Asat sangat tyag, he says. Give up bad association. Serve Vaishnavas. Accept favorable association. That which increases one's bhakti, devotion to Krishna. Then you'll see that this side will be prominent, and that side will eventually starve and die away. Through the process of devotional service, Kapila Dev tells to his mother, all of that other thing, the subtle body even, made of mind, intelligence, and false ego, which is material, subtle energy, will begin to starve. through the process of bhakti yoga, it will become digested, just as food which goes into your stomach acids is digested. Means it will cease to exist, and what will remain? If your subtle body dies, well, eventually you cannot maintain your gross body either. Only the pure soul in its relationship with Krishna will remain. So, here, the demigods were tricking the demons. They're saying, "You are our little brothers, O sons of Didi. Therefore, whatever is produced by the churning, we will take first, and you will take the remainder. And since we are senior to you, we will take the direction of Vasuki's head." But the demons were adamant. "No, it can never be like that. We are superior. What is this that we are younger? We are superior, and we will take the direction of the head." The demigods actually wanted to take the tail end because they knew that in the midst of the churning, during the hissing of the snake, deadly poison would be emitted from his mouth. So they were playing some kind of reverse psychology game on the demons. Yes, psychology is not a new principle. The demigods utilized it. Mohini Murti utilized it. Who is it? With Vrikasur, Vishnu taking a very sweet form as a brahmachari, utilized it to save Lord Shiva from the effect of Vrikasur. So there's so many different places where we see this kind of psychology being used. It is definitely not a new thing, it is eternal. And we also see it even in the banter, the loving banter between the gopis and Krishna. All of their, how do you say, sweet jalebi-like twisted language, which Krishna becomes bewildered by the love of the gopis and the love of the Brajvasis. So all this kind of thing is already eternally existent. And we're just discovering little snippets of it in its perverted reflection within this material world. So the demigods were utilizing this. They wanted the tail, but they were just saying, "No, we want the head, we want the head, we want the head." So that the demons would be like, "No, no, no, we want the head. No, no, we want it. No, no, we want it." And okay, you can have it. And then demigods get the tail, and the demons get the head and the bad part. So the demigods knew that deadly poison would be emitted from the mouth of Vasuki. But the demons did not know this. They quickly grabbed the mouth end, and while making a great effort to churn, it became very hot. Poison was produced from the snake, and the demons were burnt from this poison. They thought, "The demigods have tricked us. All right, next time we will understand. We will do exactly the opposite of what they say." So it became opposite day. Anything the demigods would say, the demons wouldn't trust them. As they churned the ocean of milk for the first, poison was produced. Actually, it is said that from this churning, poison came out. I don't know if that's the same poison that came from Vasuki. It's actually said as they were churning the ocean of milk, poison manifested. And we know about this poison. It was very, very, very toxic. And it needed a place to go, otherwise it could burn the entire world. So who took this poison? Lord Shiva. He was able to bear the burden of this poison. As he was taking the poison, he realized, "Krishna is in my heart. I cannot allow the poison to go that far." So he kept the poison in his throat. And therefore he became known as Nilakantha. Means the blue-throated one. Shiva became known as Nilakantha from this, taking that poison in his throat. He was still able to handle it, whereas we cannot handle this kind of poison. So after the poison, then Lakshmi came. Then nectar was produced. Nectar, somaras. Dhanvantari came out. He's the god of medicine. He's also an incarnation of the Lord. Ayurveda came from him. Interestingly, the last thing in Ayurveda that is said is actually the only cure for everything is Harinam, taking shelter of Sri Harinam. So Dhanvantari came out. The white elephant of the demigods was produced. I don't know if that's the same as Airavata, the elephant carrier of Indra, who's also white. A horse was produced, and many other wonderful things. When Lakshmi Devi appeared, she looked all around and wondered, who will I marry? She began considering and felt that everyone she saw was full of faults. She saw everyone, even Brahma, and she rejected them all. Finally, Vishnu came there, and she put the garland around his neck and married him. So this is quite an amazing point here. That she saw that everyone is full of faults. It's the nature of everyone within this material world. Anyone who is bound by karma, that they may have some fault, if not many, many faults. While the churning was going on, Kurma had an itching sensation on his back. And the churning movement of the massive mountain scratched his back. So actually the demigods and the demons, with the help of Vasuki and Mandara mountain, were doing seva to the Supreme Lord by scratching the itching feeling on his back. Isn't that sweet? He accepted it as seva. At that time, his breathing in and out created the low and high tides of the ocean. Some say the influence of the moon is the cause of this, but the cause given in the scriptures is correct. Did you hear that? Some say the influence of the moon is the cause of the high and low tides, but here Gurudeva is saying the cause given in the scriptures is correct. That comes from the breathing in and out of Kurma avatar. From that he created this rhythm where the oceans, the tides of the oceans have manifested. Another Kurma incarnation appeared in another Yuga or Manvantar to support the earth planet throughout its entire duration. These are two separate Kurma incarnations. So now we're hearing about different forms of the Lord from different kalpas, different incarnations of the Lord. Kurma avatar is there, but he's appearing in different ways. And if you read about the history of Varahadev in Srimad Bhagavatam, there, even in the commentary, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in his purports, explains that actually there are many different Varahadev incarnations mentioned, and it appears to be one pastime, but it's actually from many different kalpas. I think 3 or 4 different kalpas, all blended into one. And now, the time is late. I was just going to get into a more lengthy subject matter, but it will continue tomorrow. Right, 7:30. So, there's actually many points to discuss regarding what I was just reading with Kurma avatar. When we hear of Kurma avatar also, from this Kurma avatar pastime, when they churned, they received this Somarasa. And at that time, the demigods and demons were all eager to take it, and they were ready to fight over it. But then a very amazing, beautiful form of the Lord manifested. Lord Vishnu took a form of the most beautiful female form in all creation, Mohini Murti. This form, the form of Mohini. Mohini means who creates illusion. Was so attractive that she said, I will distribute this. And they were so charmed by her, the demigods and demons said, okay, whatever you like. And so she was walking up and down, looking both sides, and everyone was completely smitten by her. They couldn't even think what they wanted. They were just charmed by her feminine beauty, by her sweetness. And they were willing to accept whatever she was going to decide. Okay, you can decide. You can be the judge. We trust you that you will be fair. And so she decided to give it to the demigods first, and the demons were actually okay with this, except there was a demon who was on the side of the demigods. He was hiding among them. His name was Arahu. And at that time, just as he was taking that nectar, the sun god and the moon god ratted on him. Hey, this is actually a demon, Rahu. Immediately Mohini Murti took her chakra and chopped off the head of Rahu. But the nectar had already gone so far. So the body died, but the head remained alive up to there. And it is said that because the sun and moon god, this is Bhagavatam, because they called him out, he's angry at them. He's aggressive. And so when the eclipses come, it is Rahu who is trying to devour the sun and trying to devour the moon. And because of this, it is considered an extremely inauspicious and dangerous time. And that's why all Vedic persons, all dharmic persons, and all bhaktas, especially at the time of the eclipses, the solar and lunar eclipses, always take shelter of Sri Harinam, because it could be the end of my life. What do I want to be doing at the end of my life? I want to remember Krishna. I want to remember Sri Harinam Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will continue tomorrow. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Pana Guru Varga ki jai. Sri Sanatan Goswamipada ki jai. Shri Going Beyond Vaikuntha ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Sudevi? Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Be careful. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobi Hari ki jai, Radha Ramana ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Govinda Nam Charamadhave Jesu, Govinda Nam Charamadhave Jesu, Govinda Nam Charamadhave Jesu, Govinda Nam Charamadhave Jesu. Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Thank you very much for being with us today, for always encouraging us to do our Guru Seva and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings and the instructions of our Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. And also Wednesday for us will be the day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. So we are looking forward to that. So see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe